Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. It is Monday, January 29th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, the delusional president, the puppet, the geriatric, is still the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's so great to be back with you on this fine Monday morning, and we have a jam-packed episode for you today. We're going to kick it off here with our lead story regarding U.S. soldiers being killed in a terror attack. Now, this is not the right time to say it, but it still needs to be said. I told you this was going to happen many weeks ago when you have these Iranian-backed terrorist proxy groups going after our military installations, for example, in Iraq, but also going after our merchant vessels well over 100 times and our allies' merchant vessels. I said, what is it going to take for Biden to, ring one off the bow, blow them out of the water? That's what we talked about on the episode. I tried to find the video. I couldn't find it because, hell, we make a ton of videos here on the show. But I said this was going to happen. At some point, for Biden to wake up, some of our military personnel are going to have to die before he actually does something. Now, I've always said here, well, I think the only reason he started bombing the Houthis and others earlier was because our allies were being pissed off or getting pissed off because their merchant vessels were primarily the ones that were being targeted. And finally, they probably twisted Biden's arm saying, look, let's start bombing these suckers in Yemen. So he bombed a few military installations there that I heard were just like empty bunkers. There wasn't really much going on. They gave him warnings to get out before they actually bombed it and all these other things. So now we have this ish going on because Joe Biden doesn't know how to do his job. He's not a commander. He's a commander that sleeps, and nothing can be done when the man is sleeping. The dude didn't even know his own Secretary of Defense was in the hospital. That says everything you need to know right there. So U.S. senators pushed for direct military action against Iran on Sunday after news broke that at least 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in a terrorist attack carried out by an Iranian-backed terrorist group. Who's allowing Iran to get humanitarian aid? Oh, it's the Biden administration. Right. How much is it, Brad? Oh, it's 6 to 10 billion, somewhere in that range. But Brad, I was told by John Kirby, Karine Jean-Pierre, Jake Sullivan, Anthony Blinken that the Iranians couldn't touch that money. I was told that it was frozen. You were told wrong. Why? Because this administration does nothing but lie to all of us. We heard from Jackie Heinrich of Fox News and Peter Doocy of Fox News that the Iranians are now tapping into that. And John Kirby's going to tell, well, they're getting the money through us, but they're going to purchase stuff from third-party vendors that we have to approve. It's fungible, okay? If the Iranians now get $6 billion of basically free money, now they can use that other $6 billion that they would have spent on humanitarian aid now on terrorist proxy groups all around the world, of which we know they spend roughly $1 billion a year on. But for some reason, the White House can't grapple with that. Somehow the Democrats themselves can't grapple with that. So now you have this issue going on. And what are we doing? Still funding all this stuff and helping the Iranians out. Just lovely. U.S. Central Command said in a statement that 3 U.S. service members were killed and 25 injured from a one-way attack, unmanned aircraft system, that impacted at a base in northeast Jordan near the Syria border. Subsequent reporting said that more than 30 U.S. soldiers were injured in the attack. President Joe Biden said in a separate statement that the attack was carried out by radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. But I'm sorry, Joe, I thought you gave them the message. No, we have footage of it, you guys. Joe Biden gave them the message. Here it is itself.
I've already delivered the message to Iran. They know not to do anything. Hang on 1 second.
You continue bombing the Houthis if the attacks don't stop, sir?
Say that again?
Will you continue bombing the Houthis if the attacks don't stop? Will you continue with the strikes, sir?
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis as they continue this outrageous behavior, along with our allies.
This guy is so lost. It's head spinning. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. And like I've mentioned, we all saw the video. I'm not playing it again. 4 more years. They want this guy 4 more years. This type of stuff to happen for 4 more years. You know, like I've always said, you can't just let somebody attack you. I think it was 127 times or something like that. Well over 100 times. Before you go, oh, well, all of a sudden start bombing you. No. The first one is when you start blowing them out of the water. The first time. So they know not to do it again. But because you're so lax, Joe, they know they can get away with this stuff. And clearly, you're not sending a strong enough message. It's extremely clear at this point. How many news articles have all of you read, including myself, where, oh, there's another 4 or 5 drones blown out of the sky. Oh, there they go, attacking our vessels again. Oh, an oil tanker's on fire now because they attacked that. Why are we allowing these people, these nut jobs, to push us around? I'll tell you why, because Joe Biden's in office. Trump wouldn't put up with this shit. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna blow those fuckers off the face of the earth. Sorry to cuss, folks. I mean, this riles me up. I'm trying to keep it tame right now. There was a bipartisan show of support among U.S. senators for the Biden administration to hold Iran directly responsible. Lindsey Graham was the most direct in stating that he believes the U.S. should do what the U.S. should do in response. I'm calling the Biden administration to strike targets in significance inside Iran, not only as a reprisal for the killing of our forces, but as deterrence against future aggression. Hit Iran now, hit them hard. Folks, Iran's supreme leader said that death to America is not a slogan in their nation. It is a policy. Almost an exact quote on what that dude said. You have Mitch McConnell here said Biden's weakness was measured in American lives. Again, measured in American lives. Absolutely. We cannot afford to keep responding to this violent aggression with hesitation and half measures. Yes, as I mentioned, bombing empty buildings, Joe, isn't going to cut it. So while we bomb empty buildings, we're basically wasting $500,000+ missiles on cement. They're wasting their money on actually killing our soldiers. The entire world now watches for signs that the president is finally prepared to exercise American strength to compel Iran to change its behavior. Our enemies are emboldened, and they will remain so until the United States imposes serious, crippling costs, not only on frontline terrorist proxies, but on their Iranian sponsors who wear American blood as a badge of honor. Exactly said perfectly by Mitch. Sometimes Mitch does have his head on straight, believe it or not. Joe Biden never. Joe Biden never. If you guys recall, we sat there, went after the Iranian Navy, and we destroyed half their Navy in 8 hours, like over the course of a lunch. And we're like, you know what? Hey, we'll pull back. This is too easy. No, we should have wiped it all out. Joe Biden emboldened Iran for years by tolerating attacks on our troops, bribing the Ayatollahs with billions of dollars. And it wasn't just Biden. It wasn't just Biden. Who gave Iran $1 billion, you guys? I mean, Joe was part of it. He was part of the administration that did it. $1 billion cash. Who was it? Barack Obama. Barack Obama gave these guys $1 billion, which could be built a case around that money went to terrorism. He left our troops as sitting ducks, and now 3 are dead and dozens wounded. Sadly, as I predicted, would happen for months. The only answer to these attacks must be devastating military retaliation against Iran's terrorist forces, both in Iran and across the Middle East. You're damn right. And by the way, it's not just these 3 men and women. No. The Navy SEALs that the White House didn't want to bring up forever, like a week. We have 2 Navy SEALs died in the, can you imagine you guys being wiped off the side of a ship because of a wave and then having another Navy SEAL doing protocol by jumping in with him? It's just in the middle of the ocean. Not a fun way to die, clearly. Obviously. Joe doesn't care. He says he will. Joe's not there. Joe, he doesn't know what's going on. He's walking around a freaking bookstore sniffing a young girl's hair. We all saw this clip already. Oh, excuse me. How you doing? She's freaked out. If you haven't seen that video, you should watch it. It's that same clip. It's the same clip. It's just extended. Yesterday's deadly attack by Iran-backed militants on U.S. troops in Jordan is reprehensible. It's reprehensible and a part of a broader pattern of Tehran-enabled aggression across the region. We must work with our allies and partners to counter Iran's malign influence. So just getting reamed by senator after senator after senator. I mean, there's Democrats here too. Those responsible for this horrific attack must be held accountable. When you have Democrats going, yeah, they need to be held accountable. Here's another one. You know it's some serious issue. You know Biden messed up and has been messing up over 100 times. Over 100 times. I mean, it's relentless. Feel free to read this article. It is on the Daily Wire, but it's wild stuff happening there with the Biden administration. And speaking of just wild things, I mean, again, I've always said, if you can't take care of your domestic stuff, what makes you think you could take care of any foreign policy out there? And that's why we have Joe Biden doing it again. The dude did it again. Month after month, we've been here covering this. The records are in. The numbers are in. Biden shatters record with a historic number of illegal alien encounters in December. We called it in December. We didn't think it would happen. We just said, hey, these are the projected numbers. The dude is going to shatter it. He broke a record. We covered it. Well, now the numbers are in. This a-hole is allowing this stuff to happen again. So no wonder, if you can't take care of your own bed, if you can't take care of your own household, How can it be expected of you to take care of others' households? That's why I've always said, when you look at California with Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, these nut jobs that want to run for president, they can't even run their own state, but they're expected to run the entire country. And it flows through with Democrats' arguments, right? They go, well, Donald Trump had a company that went bankrupt. Yeah, but look at all the other successful ones he had. So clearly he could run a business. He's a billionaire. He could build things. Joe destroys things. Democrats destroy cities. They destroy localities. So if they're going to destroy those things, by linear logic, what do you think is going to happen to this nation? It's going to be destroyed. And that's what's happening here. President Joe Biden's border crisis reached new levels last month, according to a newly released numbers from U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Federal agents recorded, I hope you're sitting down for this number, folks. If you're driving, go ahead and pull over for a second or be prepared. 302,000 illegal aliens encountered just last month in December alone. December is traditionally the number that would have the lowest numbers on record, folks. And that was touted by Democrats. That's not just a Republican talking point or conservative talking point. It's because of the weather. It gets cold. People don't want to be standing outside in the freezing cold. They don't want to make the trek. The highest level ever recorded, surpassing the previous record of 269,735, basically 270,000, that Biden set in September 2023. Okay, folks, no president, I always say this, no sitting president, no human being to ever lead this country has ever seen numbers like this. The dude's shattering his own records. He wakes up one week or 1 month and goes, what can we do this month to bring in even more people? Oh, cut razor wire. Oh, we'll do all these things. At the same time, we'll bullshit the American public and tell them that we're doing everything we can to solve this thing. You have to be so far off your freaking rocker to think that the Biden administration actually wants to solve this issue when you have him breaking records month after month. And the crazy thing, as we saw, 4 more years. Democrats want this. They say he's doing a great job at the border, you guys. At least 19 illegal aliens were arrested at on the terrorist watch list. It's at 50. It's over 50 right now. In the month of January, yes, you heard that correctly, over 50 terrorists have been apprehended at the border. Just imagine how many got away. Just imagine, even if it was 10, 5, 1, it just takes one. Clearly, Joe Biden loves supporting terrorism because we just had now in totality 5 U.S. soldiers. You got the 2 Navy SEALs and the 3 that passed away here from terrorist attacks. Send $6 billion in humanitarian aid. Why doesn't the country figure out their own ish? Why are we sending humanitarian aid to everybody? I get it's easy for me to say that because right now I'm pissed and I think we should help people. But when you have an entire country that wants to wipe us off the face of the earth, why are we giving them anything? Why are they not, saying, we love Western values. Thank you so much for the $6 billion in humanitarian aid. Maybe I'm just not seeing the Iranian people come out and saying those types of things. Like if somebody gave me money, all of you do that are members, I am very thankful for it. I say thank you all the time. I even say on the show, I don't have words to describe how thankful I am that somebody's giving me their hard-earned money for a knucklehead in a closet like me with a camera and microphone. I'm clear as day when I say thank you, and I have much gratitude for it. I don't hear anything from the Iranian people. You know what I mean? I don't see anything from that government. Do any of you? I don't see a message being broadcasted on any news site of the Ayatollah going, hey, thank you for the $6 billion in humanitarian. Does any country ever tell us thank you? The Biden administration waited until late on Friday evening to release the information to the public. You want to know why he did that? Because that's a news dump. There is no news on the weekend. I've always told you guys, basically the news is between Tuesday and Thursday. Monday tends to be the slowest news day, and so does Friday. So Tuesday to Thursday is your prime time to get the news out there. So they dumped it out there, and they do this all the time because why? They're trying to bury the news. Exactly right. Exactly right. So right here, this was on January 26th by Bill Mulligan. He's doing a great job at the border covering this for, I believe, Fox News. Friday news dump. CBP officially reports 302,000 migrant encounters in December, the highest month ever recorded. CBP also reported Border Patrol arrested 19 people on the FBI terrorist watch list in December, bringing that total to 50 arrests for fiscal year 2024 so far. 50 arrests in 2024 so far. I'm sure you could do the math. If you just multiply that by 12, that's how many you're getting a month. And we're not even done with January yet. It's only the 29th. The situation at the southern border has deteriorated significantly under the Biden administration. That December's illegal alien numbers are nearly identical to the number of aliens that were arrested at the U.S. southern border for the entire year of 2017. The dude is beating out numbers in terms of totality of years. He saw more illegal aliens in the month of December. That's supposed to have the lowest numbers. He's beating out the entire year of 2017. And they have the balls to sit there on the podium every day and tell us that they're taking this seriously. If you're taking it seriously and you're being honest with all of us, which we know they're not, giving the benefit of the doubt real quick, playing devil's advocate, if you're taking it seriously, you don't deserve to be in office for another 4 years at all. Clearly, you can't solve jack bleep. And we know it's BS, right? Because they're suing Texas. They're trying to take over the National Guard or the troops there by making them federalized. They're getting rid of the razor wire, the buoys, the shipping containers, putting through the EPA. We know the shenanigans they're doing. They want this stuff because it's going to turn in the votes. And we already know that the long game is the votes because they already showed us their short-term plan in terms of transferring those illegal aliens to be able to vote in municipalities and mayoral elections like we see in New York City. So we know it's happening. We know it's the long game, and they got it from the Chinese. So that's why you have a brain-dead president here saying things like this at the border.
Asylum officers and over 100 cutting-edge inspection machines to help detect and stop fentanyl coming out our southwest border.
Jesus Christ, man. This is the, I mean, I know you guys. Yeah. 82 million people voted for this guy, but nothing fraudulent took place. Cleanest election ever. Well, I will show you what a real president sounds like right here. Let's run the real president.
When I'm president, instead of trying to send Texas a restraining order, I will send them reinforcements.
Damn right. Damn right.
Instead of fighting border states, I will use every resource, tool, and authority of the U.S. president to defend the United States of America from this horrible invasion that is taking place right now. There's never been anything like it. Texas will be given full support, and I will deploy all necessary military and law enforcement resources to seal up the final section of border. You know, we built over 500 miles of wall, fortunately, but they are just, what they're doing is just it's not even believable.
It's really not believable. Mr. President, you're absolutely correct. It is not believable. It's wild. The country has been invaded. That's what a real president sounds like. Trump has it, folks. I've already said, I've been clear as day. Look, is he perfect? No, nobody's perfect. He says a lot of asinine things. Has my vote. I've been clear. I'm voting for Trump. Just because I hound the guy sometimes doesn't mean I don't like him. I mean, everybody is I do knucklehead things. I do stupid ass things. I'm very hard on myself. So Trump has it together. They don't think so, though. The Democrats don't think so. The country has been invaded. FBI has come out and said, look, there's a grave warning with what Biden's doing at the border. Grave warning. God, what could that mean? What could that mean? Oh, I don't know. A terrible situation is probably going to happen within the next year to 10 years, somewhere in that range. 10 former FBI officials signed a letter describing the present danger the U.S. faces from President Joe Biden's border policy and raising serious concerns about a specific threat that may be one of the most pernicious ever to menace the United States. Things are so bad. I forgot what senator it was. It might have been Chuck Grassley, Ted Cruz, or something like that, was talking to Christopher Wray, the FBI director, who's a nut job himself, and going, hey, you know what? There was a lot of red flags kind of flickering around 9/11. This is nothing but red flags flickering again in a magnitude that's like 10x than, say, 9/11. The FBI director's like, oh, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I see nothing but sirens going off and red flags just everywhere, way more than we ever did in 9/11. That tells you everything you need to know right in there. A nut job that clearly is stroking, you know what, of the Biden family, covering them just as much as Attorney General Merrick Garland is, rubbing the shoulders and feet, we'll say, of the Biden family, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, all of them, James Biden, Hunter Biden's brother. He himself is going, yeah, man, it is bad. There's red flags everywhere. Probably something's going to happen. If that dude's coming out and saying and not doing any covering, it's way worse than we could ever imagine. The letter was signed last week and sent to leaders in the House and the Senate before it was shared by Senator Ron Johnson on Thursday. In it, the former FBI officials addressed a new and unfamiliar threat facing the country as military-aged men from across the globe easily enter the U.S. across a border that has been accurately advertised around the world as largely unprotected with ready access. Our enemies have been out there in the open saying the same thing. China goes, yeah, we'll use that as a mechanism to send spies across the border, which is why you have that taking place. Iran said the same thing. Hezbollah said it. The Houthis have said it. Hamas has said it as well, that they're going to use that as a gateway, an open gateway to sit there and perform heinous crimes, heinous acts against Americans. And Dems, you dirty libs that come in here every now and then, you're the ones that are going to be facing this as well. It's not just us conservatives or Republicans in here. You face the consequences too, because what are you labeled as? American. They don't like you. They're going to harm you. When are you going to wake up that you're not as safe as you think you are, you libs? That's why you need the Second Amendment. That's why you need that right to protect arms. That very right that you want to take away from us conservatives and Republicans, that you want to chisel away each and every year that you freaking nut jobs hold office. And I'm calling them nut jobs because what's happening around the world, what's happening at our border, they're not getting it. They're clearly not getting it. How do I know that? They want 4 more years. We saw the video. We've seen the polls. We've seen the video. All Democrat-ran areas are still voting for Joe Biden. We just showed you Illinois the other day. The crime's through the roof. The homicides are through the roof. Everything's through the roof there. Still going to vote Democrat. You have California, the same issue. Crime through the roof. Smash and grabs through the roof. Theft through the roof. Robbery through the roof. Arson through the roof. Murder rate through the roof. Homeless through the roof. Illegal immigration through the roof. Taxes through the roof. You could just throw a dart at the board and hit something through the roof. Still votes Democrat. I don't vote Democrat. I'm not voting Democrat. The Democrats are voting Democrat. They won't switch. It would be difficult to overstate the danger represented by the presence inside our borders of what is comparatively a multi-division army of young adult men from hostile nations and regions whose background, intent, or allegiance is completely unknown. I've said this time and time again. Do you have the physical threat of somebody doing a dirty bomb, poisoning our water supply, killing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people? It really depends on what type of terrorist attack they're going to perform. We saw what they did in 9/11. If you give them just open range just to come into our borders, who knows what they're able to plan? Stealing intelligence from us. But here's the broader picture of it all, is you're having people that don't have the same allegiance. They don't carry your values. They don't carry the very things that make this country great. They're not buying into it. They say they are, but they are not. Some of them are. Don't get me wrong. Some of them want to, again, have that American dream, live up to the values that we hold within our Constitution and Declaration of Independence, and just the value system that we carry as Judeo-Christian, values. Whether you're of a different faith, it does not matter. That is the bigger long-term thing, is that you are changing the entire culture and dynamic of this nation. And once you have that, you will no longer have a nation anymore. You have to protect what is within your borders. And the Democrats have not wanted to do that since, hell, Bill Clinton. Look what Barack Obama did. Look what Joe Biden's doing. They don't want to protect our borders. They don't want to protect what makes America great. They want to destroy what makes America great. What makes America great, you guys, is, yes, Americans, but it's the values. It's the ideology that we uphold. Although we're not perfect and we always have to strive for that ideology, it's still there. But right now you have a party, you have an entire segment of people in this country, not the entire Democrat Party, but a large swath of people, these progressive, these libs, that want to allow this to happen and destroy your country from the inside out. We're going to plug the book again. Again, we talk about it here. I wrote an entire book, how the left is going to destroy America. I use the symbol of the Trojan horse, how the Greeks defeated the Trojan city, the city of Troy, one of the greatest cities ever, destroyed it from the inside out. Why? Because the people of Troy just accepted the gift. They opened up their gates. They opened up their arms to this gift. All the while, there was an enemy inside. What is that enemy today? It's the ideology of the left. The ideology of the left is what's going to destroy this. Check the book out. I'm telling you guys, it's a great book. It's a quick read, and you're going to learn a lot about how the left is going to destroy America. It's all about equipping you so you can recognize what the hell's going on. I know you guys do, but there's even more within it. You get the link is down in the description below. It's not expensive at all. Would love for you to buy a copy, and you're supporting a conservative, a patriot. So, in light of such daunting, unprecedented penetration by uninvited foreign actors, it is reasonable to assert that the country possesses dramatic diminished national security at this time. The nation's military and laws and other natural protective barriers that have provided traditional security in the past have been thoroughly circumvented over the past 3 years. No. Ron, I'm sorry, brother. It's not over the past 3 years. This is going on since the the Obama administration for allowing this to happen, which has resulted in, thank God, House Republicans finally getting up off their you-know-whats to unveil articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. And whatever happened to the impeachment papers for Lauren Boebert on Joe Biden for both him and Mayorkas having a dereliction of duty, not wanting to uphold the Constitution? But don't worry, they're going to lie to all our faces, the Dems, the Biden administration specifically, say, oh, we're doing everything we possibly can. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's amazing that people buy into that. You know what I mean? It's amazing that people believe that. Those are the same people that you could hold up a white mug with black writing and a black logo and go, hey, this mug is white. Everything else is black on it. And they go, no, that's pink mug. That's a purple mug. They don't deal with reality, you guys. They don't deal with reality whatsoever. And you want to know what happens when you don't deal with reality? You lose your nation. People get hurt when you don't deal with reality. So House Republicans unveil articles of impeachment, thank God. And the articles are introduced by Mark Green, representative of Tennessee, Republican, and accuse Mayorkas of willful and systemic refusal to comply with the law and breach of public trust. Yeah, refusal. How about lying to Congress? How about that being one? The dude said the border was secure. What's your definition of secure there when you allow 10 million, the people that we know, pour across the border? Like, what's that definition? You want to know a great book that I highly recommend is called Speechless with Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire, and really talks about how once you take hold of the language, you then thus have another mechanism of destroying a country from the inside out. When you start changing what words mean, and no longer does your language unify a country, that's when you really start things, a snowball effect of really crippling your country from the inside out. So that's another great book, Speechless by Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire. Quote, throughout his tenure as Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas has repeatedly violated laws enacted by Congress regarding immigration and border security. In large part because of his unlawful conduct, millions of aliens have illegally entered the United States on an annual basis, with many unlawfully remaining in the United States. His refusal to obey the law is not only an offense against the separation of powers in the Constitution of the United States, but it also threatens our national security. Dems haven't woken up to that. Folks, it's the same. We have the same dude as president that allowed terrorist organization to attack our allies, our troops, and our vessels over 120 times before the dude did jack anything. People go, well, he might have done something, Brad. No, he didn't. I think it was 127 times he allowed them to attack us before he ever did anything. And even then, like I said, he just bombed empty buildings. He told them that we were coming at times. And that's why we have U.S. soldiers dying. That's why we have Americans dying on our home soil, being killed by MS-13 violent gang members that poured illegally across the border, not just once, but multiple times under the Biden administration. That's what's happening. That's why your fentanyl's killing Americans. It's like the second leading cause of death, I think, in teenagers or some crazy ass thing like that. Alejandro Mayorkas knowingly made false statements to Congress, as I mentioned, that the border is secure. There you go, right there. Oh, it's not just me pulling this out of my, you know what, like the Biden administration. It's actual facts. We have it on tape. We've covered it here on the show. But, the Biden administration won't recognize this on the podium. Oh, never would they. That the border is no less secure than it was previously. That the border is closed. And that the DHS has operational control of the border, they alleged in the second article. This is the crap that we've been dealing with, folks, for 3 years. This is the stuff the Democrats love. And they sat there and hounded us for 4 years that Trump's such a liar. He's such a bigot. He's such a xenophobe. All these things. Trump does lie. I will agree. Not on this magnitude. I didn't even see Obama lie this much. This is probably the most lies I've ever seen throughout history, in the history of the United States to be specific, than any president. I mean, this is wild. This is some crazy shit that we're seeing. These articles lay out clear, compelling, and irrefutable case of Alejandro Mayorkas' impeachment. He has willfully and systemically refused to comply with immigration laws enacted by Congress. So is Biden. Why is he not being impeached? Trump doesn't pay a parking ticket, and the Dems put up impeachment papers. Not once, but I think twice, right? The dude sits there and drinks his coffee wrong or unwraps his McDonald's hamburger incorrectly. Impeachment, 25th Amendment, get rid of the guy, he's not fit to hold office. These people don't uphold the Constitution of which they took an oath to, probably because they don't actually take oaths seriously. They clearly don't take their religion and faith seriously because that's sworn before God. But, you know, that's a case for another video. God, it riles me through the roof, folks. Pisses me off, man. Well, thank God you have the Border Patrol at least backing here. So Border Patrol Union backs Texas National Guard, slams catastrophe Biden has unleashed on America. So remember, there's all that whole toughie going through right now because you have the Supreme Court being idiots. I'm not saying they're getting everything right, but they're idiots on this one for 5-4, saying you can cut razor wire. So we were saying, well, if Biden federalizes things, you know, are you just going to have Texas looking at basically the Texas National Guard? Are you going to have Texas looking at Texas so like an old Mexican standoff, like the Spider-Man emoji, like looking at one another going, hey, who's going to shoot who? Who's going to do what? Americans basically looking at Americans. Biden caused this, by the way. Biden's done all of this. But who are they going to blame? Who are they going to blame, you guys? I'll show you who they're going to blame. I'll show you. One sec. Let me show you who they're going to blame. This man right here. That's who they're going to blame. Donald Trump, and they have been blaming him. Who else are they going to blame? Who else are they going to blame? Oh, Republicans. All of us. Somehow we're to blame for their shenanigans. For their shenanigans. And you know what they're going to say, folks? You know what they're going to claim? Competence. That Biden has competence, compassion, and skill and performance. Oh, no, they said it right here. Let's roll.
You have, in Joe Biden, and what we have accomplished as an administration, competence, compassion, skill, and performance. Because of the support, and in so many ways the role modeling of people in this room, our administration has been able to accomplish transformative work on the issue of climate.
She's an idiot. She's on climate, but competence, compassion, skill, performance. Oh yeah, sure, you're a nut job too, Kamala. You got your head so. She has her head so far up, you know what? It's mind-blowing. So you have here, the official Union of Customs and Border Protection released a statement on Thursday backing the Texas National Guard's attempt to secure the southern border and slamming the Biden administration for its catastrophe in its handling of the U.S. border. So the Border Protection Council, which has more than 18,000 members, said that the rank-and-file Border Patrol agents appreciate and respect the measures Texas has taken to repeal and repel the record flow of illegal immigrants into the U.S. Under the Biden administration. So at least they have come in with that. It's nice to see some unity between Border Patrol and what Texas is trying to do. They recognize that. I mean, we've heard time and time again that you have record low morale with Border Patrol, and how could you not? And that goes back 3 years where they were seeing 6,000 to 8,000 a day easily, still are, at the border. When you have a president, commander-in-chief that doesn't want to hold up the Constitution, but you as a Border Patrol agent, you did sit there and make an oath as well. So when your commander-in-chief tells you to do something, but it contradicts what the Constitution says, what do you do? And Democrats go, well, what about Trump on January 6th? There's a good case to be made there, but the people below Trump, when he told them to do things that went against the Constitution, they actually didn't do it. They actually said, I'm not going to do that, Mr. President. Okay? And that's a whole nother video as well as what's going on with Trump with that whole thing. Trump did do things regarding January 6th that weren't good, but it just shows you there's a process and a system that when you have people that actually take their oath seriously, they sit there and side with the Constitution, which is what we're supposed to do as Americans. Biden's not doing that, though. DHS secretary is not doing that. None of them are. Like, the whole administration is corrupt. The whole administration is corrupt. And so I just want to show you another clip here with Donald Trump saying moments within his inauguration, he'll begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Here we go.
We have no choice. Within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. No choice. We have no choice because this is not sustainable. It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. We have.
He just sounds like I mean, you look at him versus Joe. You look at him versus Joe. It's night and day. Joe don't know what's going on. The guy fights with his teleprompter as if they're said 3 years running. The teleprompter's undefeated. The dude still fumbles through his words. Doesn't even know his favorite food anymore that we saw on New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest. Oh, I like chocolate chip ice cream. The dude needs to be in a home. The sad thing is he's in a home. It's called the White House, and the White House has turned into a rest home, folks. The White House is now a rest home. So you got Border Patrol doing that whole thing. You got terrorists attacking us, so we need to build up our military. The only issue is we can't build up our military. Going back to Obama's time, Obama wanted to sit there and dismantle bases around the United States. He wanted to get rid of our bases. If anything, we need to build up our military, but we can't even get people to enlist. So what happens when you can't get people to enlist? The Navy has to lower its bar to enlist again amid continued recruiting woes. The Navy will start to enlist applicants who have not graduated high school or obtained a GED as the service continues to struggle with its recruiting goals. I don't know how this affects the ASVAB test, which helps with placement into the military, of which kind of what sector you're going to go into. But I'll get into that in just one moment here. We get thousands of people in our recruiting stations every year that want to join the Navy but do not have the education credential, and we just turn them away. The Navy's chief of personnel said of the change, according to the report in the Associated Press, the plan now will allow recruits who don't have an education credential to enlist as long as they score a 50 or above out of 99 on the qualification test, according to the report, marking the first time the Navy has allowed such recruits since the year 2000. Mind you, after the year 2000, obviously you had 9/11, going into Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other stuff. What's interesting here, you guys, this goes in way farther than we need to, but the ASVAB, these qualification tests that are basically just not just a performance test, but also an IQ test, show a high correlation in the military. I think it's a correlation coefficient of like 0.79 or 0.80, which is a strong positive linear relation between their performance, what sector they should be going on in the Navy, as well as just their IQ, into being, again, selected into specific parts of the Navy. Like if you're going to go into aircraft engineering, you would score really high on the qualification test versus somebody that scores low is going to just be on a low level, whatever they have in the Navy. I was never in the military. The problem with that is that this goes back, I think, maybe to the 40s or earlier, and Jordan B. Peterson has talked about this in terms of cognitive tests of not allowing a certain level of people to go in the military just because it's dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying anybody 50 is, missing a chromosome or anything. Please don't. That's not what I'm saying. But you get into some really dicey territory on what you're able to actually provide somebody in terms of skills, in terms of knowledge. Are they able to comprehend it? Are they able to do the job proficient or well enough? I mean, this stuff has been tracked over like a century. So when you get into that realm of lowering your standards, that is, or should I say, has the potential of being really detrimental to our military and also to the personnel who you're getting into the military. So it goes on further here to say, Cheeseman said that the Navy turned away over 4,200 potential recruits last year because they lacked any educational credential, roughly 500 of whom could have scored high enough to get in under the new rules. I'm hoping all my recruits have called all, basically 2,400 of them in the last 72 hours as well, and we'll basically see how it goes. Now, they could potentially not have a GED or high school credential and score extremely high on the test, which is what's being stated here. But my question is that I think they lowered the test as well. They brought it down so they could still meet the demand to get people enlisting. So we're constantly lowering our standards, which is a scary thought for a military that faces a lot of enemies around the world. You got China building up their military. They're in it for the long game. They're going to try to go for Taiwan at some point. It's not an if, it's just a when it's going to happen. I've heard rumors as far as, or as early as 2025, and this goes about 2 or 3 years ago. We saw a leaked letter from one of, I think it was a platoon leader or something like that. Some military personnel leaked the letter to his guys, and it kind of got out there to the ether to the rest of us. But curious on what you guys think about the Navy lowering its standards. We know other branches have lowered their standards as well. You have the diversity, equity, inclusion stuff taking place in our military. You have this woke stuff being indoctrinated in our military. Look, you start messing with that type of stuff, when your military goes to war, they're not going to be ready. Now, for those that are in the military, thank you so much for your service. Those that have served, thank you so much for your service. But I'm always curious on what your thoughts are on this. Again, never part of the military. Father was in the Navy. Grandfather was in World War II in the Navy. Was also in Pearl Harbor on the USS Reed. So always curious to see, as somebody that grew up in a military background, military family, what you think about this. But I don't think this is a good thing. If you can't meet recruiting levels, there's a reason why. There's a social reason to it. There's a lot of reasons that we're pushing kids into college, which maybe shouldn't be in the college. College also lower their standards to get people in. So we're constantly lowering our standards on every metric in today's society, which is never a good thing. But Let me know what you think of today's show, folks. A lot of you are asking again, and I just want to show this for those that actually end the show with us here. I always do this at the end because those that sit here and actually watch the show all the way to the end are the ones that love the support. So this is somebody else's, obviously Tim Pool's podcast, but down here next to download is a thanks button. So again, Blue asked me, Pat, I think it was you that donated $2. Greatly appreciate it. I think it was Pat, or if the person that donated, it says a different name on there. Forever donated that $10. I did respond to you. $10. That $2. I'm all a mess. It's not like Joe Biden. I'm trying to go fast here for you guys. You said it was a little amount. You guys, $2 is not a little amount. You giving any money is huge. You worked hard for that money. You know what I mean? If you gave 1 penny, it's extremely thankful. Or I'm extremely thankful. So $2, that's a lot. So thank you so much. Again, anything you take out of your pocketbook that could be going towards your family or retirement, you're putting it towards me and the show and everything else. Trust me, I'm extremely thankful, and through prayer and everything like that, thankful as well. So there's a thanks button here. If you want to just donate like on a video, just a random video that you feel like you got a lot out of, or just to give back. And then obviously, as I mentioned, always in the corner over here, there's a join tab if you want to do like a monthly thing. I think there's a $4.99 option and a $9.99 option. And that helps go to support the show. Don't feel like you have to do it, folks. Just people ask in email or through comment section. So it's a way for me to kind of just reach a bigger audience and kind of answer a question to a lot of people rather than sending multiple emails and stuff like that. So if you guys want to, that's there for you. Again, we have Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. If you want a copy, it's right here. Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Sometimes you can get it in Walmart, depending if it's available or not. And then obviously we have mugs, we have shirts, we have all that stuff, folks. So you guys rock, Patriots. Thank you so much. We're kicking this weekend off with a bobbity bomb episode. And with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow here on the Ball Brad Show.